Hey everyone, welcome back for another week of Three Things to Watch. I'm Carly Smith here with Rob Washburn after watching yet another wild week of CAA football play out. We've said it before and we'll say it again. Anything can happen on Saturday in this league, and oh boy, do we have a great schedule of football coming your way this weekend. Our first thing to watch features the only team that remains undefeated in conference play. Fifth-ranked Delaware, who's 4-0, will face a team that's rolling into Week 9 with some steam, a 2-2 Towson Tigers squad. Delaware is coming off of a very convincing road win at Hampton, where they defeated the Pirates 47-3 and piled up 522 yards of offense. Towson took down William and Mary in Williamsburg last week after rallying back from a 14-point halftime deficit. This team has shown their grit and their ability to improve week in and week out. Rob, what are your predictions?
Carly, the games between these two longtime rivals are always hard fought, but this year's game seems even bigger with the momentum that both teams bring to it. Delaware's riding a 5-game winning streak and is playing well in all phases of the game, but I want to focus on the Blue Hens' defense. Delaware has held its past 3 opponents under 300 yards of total offense, and the Blue Hens haven't allowed a touchdown in the past 10 quarters. This was a group that came into the season with 9 new starters and plenty of questions, but they've answered them in a big way. Transfer Jackson Taylor leads the group with 64 tackles, while veteran Chase McGowan has anchored the defensive line with 8.5 tackles for loss and 7 quarterback hurries. Simply put, they have been dominant. Now on the other side is a Towson offense that continues to improve behind first-year starting quarterback Nathan Kent and turned in its most impressive performance of the season last Saturday in upsetting nationally ranked William and Mary. Trailing 17-0 on the road and facing the top-ranked defense in FCS, the Tigers opened the second half with an incredible 22-play, 11.5-minute touchdown drive and reeled off 34 unanswered points by controlling the ball for over 24 minutes of the second half. Behind the running of Devin Matthews and an emerging weapon in tight end Carter Runyon, this group is playing with a lot of confidence. Towson already has 2 wins over ranked opponents this season. Can they make it 3 on Saturday, or will Delaware take another step toward capturing the CAA championship?
We shall see. Let's hear what Delaware's Ryan Carty and Towson's Pete Chinnick had to say prior to Week 9.
They're a good football team. You know, they're playing really confident right now. And, you know, you can see a change from the beginning of the season to the end when you're watching the breakdown. You know, right now they're a group that's ready to give a fight to anybody that steps on the field with them.
Yeah, Delaware defense, extremely athletic, flies around. They're going to give you multiple fronts. They are going to really make you think you have one thing and then take it away. So our quarterback's going to need to be extremely disciplined. Our wide receivers are going to need to be able to read coverage as well.
Kickoff is at 1 p.m. in Towson, Maryland on the Monumental Sports Network and Flow Football. Don't miss it. Okay, now on to our second thing to watch. Richmond plays host on homecoming weekend to Campbell. Richmond's tied for second in the conference standings with a 4-1 record, while Campbell's not too far behind. They're sitting at 3-2 in their inaugural year in the league. Richmond's playing sound football on both sides of the ball right now. Their defense held North Carolina A&T to 145 total yards in their win against the Aggies last week, whereas Campbell continues to play electric football after a 34-28 victory against Maine last week. Rob, what stands out to you in this one?
Yeah, Carly, both of these teams are very much in the hunt for the conference title, but likely need a win Saturday to stay in that race. Now, for Campbell, it's been all about that high-flying offense. It's averaging 37 points per game and hasn't been held to less than 24 points in a game all season. Engineering the attack is veteran quarterback Haj Malik Williams, who's thrown for over 1,900 yards and 15 touchdowns to a deep and talented group of receivers, and he also has the ability to escape the pocket and make big plays as a runner. The most impressive part, though, is how few mistakes he makes with the ball, completing 75% of his passes and having thrown just 3 interceptions in over 200 attempts. On Saturday, he faces a Richmond defense that has thrived on creating mistakes. The Spiders are number 1 in FCS with 20 turnovers gained and number 2 with 12 interceptions. They lead the nation with 4 defensive touchdowns, including 3 pick sixes, 2 of which came last week by Jabril Hayes and Aaron Banks in the win at A&T. Richmond's defensive line has created pressure with 20 sacks and, of course, has one of the top linebackers in FCS in Tristan Wheeler. So we have the high-octane offense of Campbell against the opportunistic defense of Richmond. Which one will win out on Saturday?
Let's hear what Richmond's Russ Huesman and Campbell's Mike Minter had to say about the matchup.
sometimes when you got a guy that's just a runner, they get out of the pocket and they take off. But when you got a thrower back there like he is, they always escape, and they'll try to find somebody down the field. We got to really plaster on wideouts at that point in time. And, he's looking to throw, but he can run the football.
And we know that Richmond is a blue blood in this conference. And so whatever success you've had on the road or non-success you've had on the road has absolutely nothing to do with this game. And so we have to be prepared to play 4 quarters of solid, sound football because them guys are going to play smart. They're going to play tough. Discipline, all the things that we try to preach here at Campbell, them guys are going to be about that. And so,
Rob, we've got a good one brewing in Richmond, that's for sure. Kickoff is at 3:30 p.m. on MASN and Flow Football. Finally, our third thing to watch features 2 teams who suffered hard-fought losses in Week 8, but look to rebound and recharge for yet another competitive league game. Number 22, William & Mary, plays host to Monmouth. Both teams are 2-2 in the conference, and Rob, it's a must-win football game from here on out. Monmouth has one of the most prolific offenses in the league with names like Dymere Miller and Jaden Sheridan ringing a bell, whereas William & Mary, well, I'd put the Tribe defense up against anyone in the nation. So, Rob, how do you expect both these teams to respond in Week 9?
Yeah, Carly, as always, you've laid it out perfectly. Monmouth has 2 of the most dynamic offensive players in the nation, Jaden Sheridan and Dymere Miller. Sheridan was the CAA Offensive Player of the Year last season and hasn't missed a beat, piling up a league best 922 yards on the ground. He's topped the century mark in 5 of his last 6 games. Now, Miller has been the league's top receiver with 57 catches for 698 yards, and he's been over 100 receiving yards in 4 of the past 5 games. Behind these guys, the Hawks are averaging 35 points and the CAA best 440 yards per contest. On the other side is a William & Mary defense that features 2 of the most disruptive players in the nation and All-Americans John Pius and Nate Lynn. Pius ranks in the top 10 in FCS with 7 sacks and 11 tackles for loss, while Lynn is right behind him with 8 sacks and 10 tackles for loss. They've combined for 7 quarterback hurries and 3 forced fumbles for a Tribe defense that's giving up just 265 yards and 16 points per game. Now, this is the first meeting ever between these successful programs, and both will enter the game highly motivated after tough losses a week ago. It should be a great one.
Agreed. This is what William & Mary's Mike London and Monmouth's Kevin Callahan had to say about Saturday.
This is our playoff. It's a 1-game playoff. You have to win this game in order to keep going on. And so the most important game for us is this game. It's a game. It's a home game. It's family weekend. It's all those different things. But the most important thing is to correct the correctables, which we're very capable of doing, and then playing a high level of competitive football, which we're very capable of doing.
And they do a great job. What stands out to me is the amount of negative plays that they have. They've got 2 guys in their front line who, they have 22 tackles for loss between the 2 of them. They have 15 sacks between the 2 of them. So they're very aggressive. They're very talented.
Kickoff is at 1 p.m. in Williamsburg, Virginia. You can tune into this one on Cox, Your View, and Flow Football. All right, what else is happening around the league? Let's take a look, shall we? Maine hosts a UAlbany squad that is receiving votes in national polls, and rightfully so. Rhode Island faces New Hampshire for another extremely competitive battle in the Northeast. Villanova welcomes Stony Brook for what is always a feisty rivalry game. And last but surely not least, Hampton and North Carolina A&T face off for Hampton's homecoming weekend. Safe to say that'll be an electric atmosphere in Hampton, Virginia. There you have it, Week 9, everyone. Hope you enjoy it. For results, recaps, and more, visit CAAfootball.com and visit @CAAfootball on social media.